that the field work for the arborist report was carried out in November of 2017, 3 full years ago, when this very same arborist recommended removing most of the trees on the subject properties. It was only thanks to the intervention of the city's urban forestry division, as well as the previous Committee of Adjustment and TLAB bodies, that the applicants and their agents were forced to consider the preservation of these trees. Frankly, I have very little faith in an arborist who has changed his point of view 3 times now. As I'm not an arborist myself, I cannot speak persuasively to the plans that David Carnevale has proposed to protect the trees. I could speak to the importance of that protection on the landscape of this established neighborhood. However, I do not need to, because that importance has already been established by the TLAB decision made by Ian Lord, who also noted the, quote, reactive nature of the applicant's evidence, and I quote again, particularly in respect of the environmental considerations focused on the trees and the silver maple in particular. Lord confirms the decision made previously by the COA to deny the applications based primarily on the insecurity of the trees' overall health that was introduced by the proposed plans. Whereas maintaining the status quo, as was shown by representatives of urban forestry, ensured that the trees would survive. I grant that the scope of the plans have changed, but certain questions regarding the security of those trees remain unanswered. So if urban forestry has given an opinion on the new plans, I would very much like to see it included in the file, but I don't yet see anything there. My second major concern is the proposed depth of the new building, for which the applicants are asking for a variance of almost 2 full meters, from 19 meters to 20.98 meters. In my opinion, this is not a minor variance and will have a negative impact on the privacy and light we currently enjoy and have enjoyed for over a decade in our backyard. If allowed to proceed as proposed, the new dwelling will overshadow our entire back deck and back garden. Moreover, the kitchen window of the new house will look directly into our backyard. Never have we felt more grateful for having some outdoor space that we can enjoy than over the past 8 months when COVID has prevented us from going anywhere else. And although the applicants have tried hard to submit evidence of other local variances that were similar in nature and were allowed, I can't find any that they've provided that would support such an extension. In looking through the supporting material they've included, I see that the largest variance for depth that was allowed took place in 2011, when it appears the bylaw was perhaps more modestly set at a depth of 17 meters. Now that the bylaw itself allows for a building of 19 meters, I believe that this should be sufficient for the proposed house. And certainly the demand for a variance of 20.98 meters should not be considered minor. So I'm going to stop there. Those are my 2 main concerns, and I'd like to thank you for your consideration today.
Thank you very much, Madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I have one other speaker, a Rodney Morrison. Are you there, sir? Rodney Morrison, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, Rodney Morrison at 500 Mortimer Avenue.
Okay, if you could give us your views on this application, please.
Okay, I also, I won't reiterate all the points that Valerie Deacon made, but I do agree with all of her concerns. My primary concern with regards to the development of the properties at 502 and 504 Mortimer is for the well-being and continued existence of the silver maple trees, both front and rear of the properties. As a decision of the appeal board in 2018 indicated, the tree at the front of the property is a distinctive part of the neighborhood and risks to its health is not something to be taken lightly. I worry that the planned development is not going to take appropriate steps in order to mitigate any harm to the trees. The initial arborist report submitted by the tree specialists for these properties, 17249026 STE29CO, was written on December 15th of 2017 and recommended the removal of the front yard silver maple tree. And it was only after the Committee of Adjustments denied the application on February 16th, 2018, that the report was revised to recommend preserving the front yard silver maple with injury. The decision of the TLAB panel chair, Ian Lord, characterized the applicant's evidence as reactive in nature, particularly with respect to the environmental considerations. The latest revision to the arborist report is 29 months after its original drafting, but I note that the dimensions of the trees is all exactly as it was in the original. I suspect that the revision did not include a new site visits to update the findings and assess the current health of the trees. I also note that the graphics report that's submitted with this application PLN-CA Arborist Reports November 20th, 2020, showing the location of the roots and where the proposed driveways are to be constructed is inaccurate. It indicates that there are no roots underneath the porches of both of the properties, which is the blue shaded area, but the foundation walls don't actually extend there. They end at the front wall of the structures. This would mean that the yellow shaded areas where the proposed driveways are to be paved is larger than is calculated. Lastly, the applicant's plan is to use the existing driveway at 504 Mortimer for construction access. This is despite the reservations brought up by Andrew Pickett of Urban Forestry that the roots have broken the surface and have in fact heaved up the asphalt. Using this access will entail driving heavy machinery onto the site directly beside the front yard silver maple over the exposed roots. Mr. Pickett expressed concern that damage to the root system of the tree that close to the trunk would have a detrimental effect on the health of the tree. And that concludes my statement.
Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back. We will go up to back to the agent. Sir, you've heard the comments from the previous two speakers. If you'd like to address them, please.
Yes, this application is a different application than that was submitted back in 17. Initially, we wanted to divide the two properties into 3 lots, and that's where all this removals of the tree came into place. And after discussions with forestry and planning, we decided just to stick to 2 houses, and we are protecting both of those trees. So I don't know why they're bringing up the other application, because we're currently protecting the trees. And as far as the building length, the building depth, the reason why we have the building depth is to protect that tree. So if we didn't, if we complied with the building depth, then we would be impeding on the tree protection zone, and that is the reason why we set it back. But our building itself is only 16.01 meters.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anything else to add?
Not unless you have any questions.
I will. I'll just ask. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we have no other persons registered to speak on this item. I note that we have no staff comments or recommended conditions on this application. So if I could get a motion from the committee, please. Ms. Adarati?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I carefully listened to the applicant explanation and other people, and I personally believe this is a very minor, and I appreciate the explanation about the relocating the building in terms of to save those trees. So my motion will be to approve this application with no conditions.
Thank you, Ms. Adarati. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application has been approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 2504 Mortimer Avenue. I have 4 people registered to speak. Mr. Mastrandria is the agent. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
Yes, Mr. Mastrandria, have you had the opportunity to read the city planning report of the 29th of November? Because they're recommending refusing variance number 5 related to the finished first floor height and variance number 8 related to the rear deck projection. Have you had the opportunity?
Yes.
Have you had the opportunity?
Yes,
to read that report? Okay. And how would you like to respond?
Yes, I spoke. So I spoke to planning, and I agreed that I would remove variance number 5 and variance number 8 off this application completely.
Okay, let me just get that down. So variance number 5 and 8 are being deleted. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And variance number 5 relates to the first floor height on the porch above established grade, and variance number 8 relates to the proposed deck rear projection. So both those are being deleted.
Correct.
Okay, sir, if you could give us a very brief presentation on what you see are the merits of your proposal, please.
Yes, again, so moving back to just 2 dwellings on these 2 properties, I feel that we're in keeping with the characteristics of the neighborhood. Variance number 1 is minor in nature. Variance number 2 as well is minor in nature. Variance number 3, we are consistent with the built form, and I have, if you look at my package, page number 9, 18, 21, and 23, we have similar wall heights of between 8.5 and 8.72, which is consistent with what we're proposing. Variance number 6 is minor in nature, as well as variance number 7. And variance number 9 has to do with the rear deck, which I spoke to planning and they have no concerns. And variance number 10 is again the height, which is the same as variance number 2. If you have any questions, I can answer them.
I'll ask. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll move to the next person on the list. I have a Valerie Lopez. Are you there, madam?
Mr. Chair and members, Valerie Lopez is not present on the call.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wills. Vladislav Novak, are you there?
Members and Mr. Chair, Vladislav Novak is not present.
Okay, thank you. Rodney Morrison, are you there? Mr. Morrison?
Yes, I'm
are you
here.
there?
Yep.
Can I get
Yes,
your
I'm
full
here.
name and address, please?
Yes, it is Rodney Morrison, 500 Mortimer Avenue.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you could give us your views on this application, please note that variances number 5 and 8 have been deleted.
My concerns for this property are the same as they were for 502 Mortimer Avenue, that the previous applications that have been submitted by the developers have not taken into account the concerns that the trees are going to be protected sufficiently. That was more than made clear that their importance at the appeal board. And there doesn't appear to be any evidence that they've brought forth in this application that urban forestry has signed off on these plans. So my statement that I made for the, would you like me to reread my statement from 502?
No, that's not necessary, sir. We have it from last time.
Okay. The one last note that I would like to make is in Valerie Deacon's written submission, she included, well, Leo Mastrand indicated, questioned why we're contesting these applications and why we're bringing up the old applications. There was an application that has was since dropped in 2018, where urban forestry brought up a number of points which Valerie Deacon included in her submission, her written submission. And to the best of our knowledge, those questions haven't been answered, including how the properties are going to be serviced. I believe it was at the T-Lab that they indicated that servicing the properties was going to require digging a 3-foot by 3-foot by 7-foot hole for each of the properties in order to provide services which have to run directly from the city's line into the properties or into the houses. And this, of course, would go directly through the root system of the silver maple in the front yard that borders both properties.
Okay, thank you, sir.
But I believe there were 4 points there that have not necessarily been answered.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? I'll refer back to
Mr. Chair and members, I have noted, though The area neighbor registered as Vladislav Novak is not present. There is a Roman Novak that I suspect is actually they just didn't sign up properly.
So they would like to speak, Mr. Wills? Okay,
Yes.
We'll let them speak.
A
Are you
Roman,
there?
a Roman Novak. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
My name is Roman Novak. Address is 503 Mortimer Avenue.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your views on this application?
Yes, I'll keep it brief. I'm fully in support of the application. These houses have been clearly abandoned for over a decade now, and I feel they are devaluating our value of the house and the area, and I am full support of the application.
Okay, thank you, sir. We'll go back to Mr. Mastrandria. Are you there, sir? Mr. Mastrandria, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Sir, can you turn off your other audio video devices? Just speak through your phone. We're getting a feedback.
I have no other devices. I'm just talking through the computer.
Okay, all right. You've heard the comments from the previous speakers, and I guess it's still related. There seems to be an issue with respect to the trees. If you could address that, please.
Okay, so our initial application in 2017 was 3 detached houses, which was denied. So then we decided to try 1 detached and 2 semi-detached, which the services were an issue. And that's why that email from forestry was written, is how do we service without cutting through the trees? But since then, we've only have 2 houses, which our services are going to be on our driveways away from the tree protection zone, and we are protecting those 2 trees.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker?
It's gonna make that house.
There being none, if I could get a motion on this application, please. Please note that there is the condition from city planning was recommending the refusal of variance number 5 and variance number 8. And the applicant has deleted those 2 variances in this revised application. So if I could get a motion on this revised application, please. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I accept the explanations provided by the agent today, and I'll recommend approval of this application and make it subject to the staff conditions of November 20th, the removal of variances number 5 and 8.
Thank you very much. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Ms. Adirati seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application's been approved.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Sorry.
We're on item number 21. And that is 169 Strawn Avenue. I have 1 person registered to speak. That is Ryan Valente. Are you there, sir?
I am. Thank you for your time today.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, there is some correspondence in the file on this application indicating you have,
Yes.
you're requesting 1 variance for a floor space index of 1.07 times the area of the lot. And there's correspondence in the file that indicates that you don't need that variance. Is that correct? It was previously approved.
That is correct.
So,
That is correct. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
so are you asking to close the file?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, you'd like to close the file. Okay, we have no other persons registered to speak. Committee members, the application the applicant currently has before us is redundant. It's already covered under a previous variance. We have a motion. Can I have a motion to close the file, please? Ms. Adirati?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I want to put forward a motion to close this file.
Thank you, Ms. Adirati. Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries, sir. Your application's been closed.
Thank you very much. And I just have one question. Now, I was hoping I could get the committee of adjustment application refunded due to the fact that
Mr. Chairman,
Toronto.
the committee does not deal with refunds. There's a new refund policy. I will deal with that.
Just say, you can deal with that separately with Mr. Antonacci, sir.
Okay, will you be emailing me or should I reach out to you, sir?
I will contact you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Item number 22, 129 Colbeck Street. I have one person registered to speak, a Jay Smith. Mr. Smith, are you there?
I am, Mr. Chair.
Can I get your full name and address, please, sir?
Yeah, it's Jay Smith. I'm the agent for 129 Colbeck Street.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask if you had the opportunity to read the city planning report of the 20th of November. They indicated that they have no objection provided that the rear, second, and third story balconies are constructed with opaque privacy screening or fencing that is permanently located along the east and west edges of the deck to a minimum height of 1.5 meters measured from the floor of the balconies. Have you had the opportunity to read the report and note that recommendation?
I have, Mr. Chair. I've reviewed it with the owners. They have no objection to that requirement.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have no other persons registered to speak on this item. You have two variances before us. I think it's pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or would like a presentation. Okay, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the proposed variances are minor in nature. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application, subject to the following condition, that the rear, second, and third floor balconies shall be constructed with opaque privacy screening or fencing that is permanent, located along the east and west edges of the deck to a minimum height of 1.5 meters measured from the floor of the balconies.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Item number 23, 103 WOODYCREST Avenue. I have one person registered to speak, a Vanessa Fong. Are you there, madam?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, thank you, madam. I just wanted to ask, the application, this is just an administrative thing. The purpose of the application states to construct a new parking pack in the front yard. I believe that should be to construct a new parking pad, PAD, in the front yard. That's correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
I just wanted to ask, there's 5 variances before us. I think it's pretty clear what you're asking for in the application. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or would like a presentation. There being none, could I get a motion on the application? I note that we have no staff comments or recommended conditions. Ms. Sankar?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, I move approval of this application without conditions.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Can someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 24. It is 58 Arundel Avenue. I have 5 people registered to speak. I have the agent Eldon Theodore. Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask before we start, have you had the opportunity to read the 20th of November city planning report? They appear to have no objections, but they state that provided that variances 2, 3, and 4 are approved on condition that the proposed dwelling is constructed substantially in accordance with the dimensions shown on drawings A, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the plans received by the committee on June the 2nd, 2020. Have you had the opportunity to read that report, sir?
Yes, I have, Mr. Chair, and both myself and my clients are supportive of that condition.
Thank you, sir. We have 4 other persons registered to speak on this item, sir. So if you could give us a very brief presentation on what you see are the merits of your proposal.
Absolutely. My client is seeking a minor variance to reinvest in his existing two-story dwelling and the existing two-story addition. With this approval, they will achieve a three-story dwelling with a two-story addition. The improvements will also occur to the detached garage. However, variances are not required as it relates to those improvements. We believe the variances meet the 4 test for a number of reasons. With respect to the reduction in the side yard setbacks, as it relates to the platform, we believe this is in keeping with the area rear yard setbacks, many of which are built to the property line. In this specific proposal and looking on the plan, the properties to the north and the south have existing privacy fences on their own decks. So this will avoid overlooker privacy as it relates to the proposed deck at the rear. In terms of the front yard setback reduction, it's comparable to front yards in the immediate area and is generally in line with the facades and porches to the north and the south, both 56 and 60. In terms of the side yard setback reductions, they are respectful, in my opinion, of the patterns of reduced yards in the area. And in the case of the south side yard, it's an improvement because it's adding additional side yard setback from the existing condition. The proposal balances side yards evenly within the lot. In terms of main wall height, it's an increase from 7.5 to 9.6, really recognizing a flat roof design being proposed by the owner. However, the proposal softens the appearance at the 3rd level by stepping that 3rd story back, mimicking a pitched roof design and ensuring that that step back is actually in alignment with the dormer to 60 Arundel to the north. The increased middle height is a common variance that's sought within this neighborhood, and I believe it's appropriate for this proposal. In terms of the building depth, while it's increasing from 17 to 20.08 meters, this is technical in variance because it's really a result of the basement walkout being counted, which is below grade. The actual above grade per component is actually only slightly longer than what the existing condition is today. Overall building depth does not substantially change from the existing condition as it relates to the rear yard. In terms of the increase in the FSI from 0.6 to 1.08, it's actually quite similar to other permitted FSIs that have been approved for the minor variance in this neighborhood. And overall, the changes won't have a fundamental impact on the rear yard in terms of anyone's available amenity space, as most of the form is at the front or the middle of the dwelling itself. And the side yards, the form itself, it maintains that overall perspective in terms of massing. In terms of the reduction in the roof eaves, that's not an uncommon variance to seek, and it really it's a reflection of the narrow lotting fabric within the neighborhood. The eaves are proposed are designed in a manner that will continue to maintain drainage, and the side yards will have space on both sides to be able to provide for any servicing if that needs to occur. And lastly, the reduction in the front yard landscaping, that's actually quite similar to a lot of the front yards that you see in the area context, which have evolved over time through a combination of hardscape and softscape over time. So the reduction in front yard softscaping is no different than what you see on the street. Overall, in my opinion, the proposal complements the eclectic character of the dwellings in the neighborhood and fits harmoniously within the area context. I think the areas for potential impacts such as shadowing, overlook, and privacy have been mitigated by the design. That, in my opinion, is not a significant departure from what exists today. I would ask the committee to approve these variances. I know there are some residents that have concerns. I'm happy to respond to any of those particular concerns, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Thank you very much, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on our speakers list. I have a Michael Rowland. Are you there?
Yes, I am. It's Michael Rowland at 77 Chester Avenue.
Yes, thank you, sir. If I could get your full name and address, please.
Yes, it's Michael Rowland, 77 Chester Avenue.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed. If you tell us your views on this application.
Thank you for inviting our comments. First-time commenter through the Committee of Adjustment. In general, my wife and I feel that this is an overly aggressive proposal for the site, comprised of 10 minor variances, which for us, when you combine it all, it seems like a major variation. We're concerned about some of the specific changes, the loss of green space, the overall massing on the site, and the overall overly narrow side yard setbacks. And those are our comments. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions of the speaker? Go to the next person on our list. I have a Tara Woodlet. Are you there, madam?
Hi, yeah, I'm here.
Yes, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure, my name is Tara Woodlet. I'm at 56 Arundel, just to the south of the property.
Okay, thank you. If you could give us your views on this application?
Yeah, I think my letter overall stands for itself. My main concerns are the structural integrity of my own home, as well as 54 Arundel. Currently 54, 56, and 58 are all attached to one another. And I don't see in the proposal any plans for ensuring the structural integrity of our two homes. These are all old homes that were built very, structurally, they're very much intertwined at the moment. And then I would have a new external wall being built if the separation occurred. And I didn't see it addressed in the proposal how I would be protected in that process to ensure that was in a mutually agreed upon manner. And then I echo the concerns about the narrow side yard setbacks and the front and back setbacks as well.
Okay, thank you very much, madam. Madam, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Bill Cookson. Are you there, sir? Mr. Cookson?
Hi.
Sir, can I get your full name and address, please?
It's Joan Cookson. Bill and I are here together. He's my husband, and I'll speak on behalf of both of us.
Okay, please proceed. You can give us your views on this application.
I'm at 81 Chester Avenue, and I would say that our views are similar to a previous speaker, Michael Rowland. When you look at the sum of all the individual amendments that are being asked for variances, it results in a very large building for the size of the lot, and with very little green space left. And I think that that's not really in keeping with the neighborhood if we go along this trend and allow what I consider to be more major variances to be approved like this. The loss of the front yard, yes, there may have been other homes that have had changes to their front yards, but I mean, it doesn't mean that that's acceptable or within the bylaws, and that it doesn't change the character of the street that we have. So I'm concerned about the density of the building. I'm concerned about the setback and the loss of green space. I'm also asking a question as to whether anybody has looked at the existing trees from an urban forestry perspective to make sure they're protected. There was a smaller tree on the front yard of this property. To the north, in the pictures, it looks like there's a very substantial tree right next door, and with the narrow lots, I don't know what impact with the extensive excavation that's going on with this particular project, whether that will have an impact on a very mature tree, which is next door. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, and hearing the previous speakers as well, I just want to get an idea. So in your eyes, ma'am, do you think that this absolutely does not meet the character of the neighborhood?
I think it's a disturbing trend in the neighborhood that as we go through all these adjustments, the buildings are becoming larger and larger. and the green space is becoming less and less. And that is starting to impact the character of the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any further questions of the speaker? I have one last speaker. Hope I pronounce this correctly. Tan Um, are you there?
Mr. Chair and members, Tan is not present on the call.
Okay, thank you. I'll go back to Mr. Theodore. Mr. Theodore, are you there?
Mr. Chair, I am.
Yes, Mr.
Yes,
Theodore,
I am.
you've heard the comments from the previous speakers. If you'd like to address their concerns.
Yeah, I'd like to. Thank you for the opportunity. I recognize that all residents that are circulated have an opportunity to comment, and I hear the comments from particularly 77 Chester and 81 Chester, but I will point out that those neighbors are on an opposite street on the other side of this development, backing onto my client's property. So their view of my client's property would be from the rear yard, looking from a lane where there are detached garages. So I did note in my presentation that most of the change as it relates to the proposal is really front forward in terms of the third story, which is really along Arundel, rather than at the rear yard. That's where the majority of the change is occurring and keeping in similar in style with 60 Arundel. So in terms of overly aggressive, as it relates to those rear yards and those rear properties, it isn't advancing significantly closer as it relates to that area. In terms of the loss of green space, for clarity, my client is seeking a reduction from 75% to 50% in the front yard. No reduction is required in the rear yard in terms of landscaping and area within that space. It's not infringing or require variance from those particular soft landscaping requirements. In terms of just speaking to the character, the reality is, and in my observations, this neighborhood is that it's going through an evolution. And there are a mix and range of housing styles and housing forms that speak to the eclectic nature of this neighborhood. And this proposal, in my opinion, continues to fit both from a massing perspective and from a height perspective, as it relates to even the most immediate neighbors along this street. I heard the comments from Ms. Woodlet, 56 Arundel, with respect to the structural integrity of the proposal. It is the expectation, and I know that my client, even before proceeding with the work, intends to undertake a structural analysis, not just for his property, but also for the adjacent properties, recognizing that it is a row house condition. And we expect that's something that the building department would require as part of the permits. We're happy to make that a condition of approval if that pleases the committee in terms of a level of comfort. And in terms of the shared wall condition, it was always the anticipation that my client would be responsible for addressing that the implementation of a new wall condition to meet that separation as it relates to the dwelling. Again, that was intended to be addressed at the building permit stage and in consultation with both my client and the neighbor. I believe I touched on all the issues. Oh, excuse me. In terms of trees, the intention is to maintain that existing tree within the front yard. And I'll note that Urban Forestry has not commented on our application in terms of concerns as it relates to on-site property trees.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we have no other speakers, and we also have just that condition from city planning. So if I could get a motion on this application, please. Ms. Adarati?
Yes, to you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the staff condition that the development have been, the site will develop substantially accordance with the drawing number A1, A2, A3, A4, and A5, which is site plan, east elevation, west elevation, and north elevation, south elevation, which all the plans received on 2nd of June 2020.
Thank you, Ms. Adarati. Someone to second Ms. Adarati's motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Ms. Sankar dissenting. Sir, your application has been approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much.
Item number 25, 3 Edgewood Gardens. I have one person registered to speak, a Hector Portalance. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. Sir, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can I get your full name and address, sir?
Yes, my name is Hector Portvalance, and I'm at 130 Milverton Boulevard, Toronto.
Thank you, sir. I note that we have no staff comments or recommended conditions that have been described by staff. The variances you're requesting, I think, are pretty clear to the committee. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or would like a presentation. We have no other persons registered to speak on this application. There being none, could I get a motion on the application, please? Ms. Adarati?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no conditions.
Thank you. Someone to second Ms. Adarati's motion. Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 26, 308 LINSMORE CRESCENT. I have one person registered to speak. That is Vasilios Leventis. Are you there, sir?
Members, Vasilios is not present on the call.
Okay, I'll hold this one down. We'll come back to it.
It should be noted that the agent did not officially register as well.
Oh, really? Well, I'll hold. Pardon me. I'll hold this one down till later in the meeting. Go to item number 27, 49 Heath Street West. I have 7 people registered to speak. I have the agent Matthew Lacatos Hayward. Are you there? Matthew Lacatos Hayward, are you there?
Mr. Chair and members, Matthew is present. He is unmuted. So if he's ready to speak, he's more than welcome to now.
Yep. Mr. Lacatos Hayward, are you there? Matthew, are you there? I'm going to skip ahead to the next one on the item, Mr. Wills. Item number 28, 454 O'Connor Drive. I have one person registered to speak. That is Trevor Gain. Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir, I am. My name is Trevor Gain. I am the agent here on file.
Thank you, sir. Could I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, it's Trevor Gain. I reside at 10 Celebrity Place in Markham.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask if you've had the opportunity to read the city planning report of the 17th of November. They appear to indicate that they have no objection, but they have a condition that the variances for garage entrance elevation, building length, floor space index, platform area, front yard setback, building height, number of stories, and main pedestrian entrance height must be limited to and be constructed substantially in accordance with the dimensions shown on drawings 1, 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the plans received by the committee on June the 3rd. Have you had the opportunity to review that report, sir?
Yes, we have, and we have no objections to it. This application is filled with definition technicality, so this is just ensuring what we design gets built.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to, I'll just ask the committee, we have no persons registered to speak on this application. Do you have any comments, questions, or would you like a presentation? There being none, could I get a motion on the application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I note that even though there's reports from TRC and Forestry that none of it, there's no objections and it doesn't apply. So I'll put forward a motion to approve this application and make it subject to the November 17th staff report and the recommendations therein.
Thank you, Ms.
If you'd like me to repeat what they are, let me know.
Yeah, thank you. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Kidd, second.
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Excuse
Mr.
me,
Kidd.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. I thought there was a forestry condition for this.
I don't have anything from forestry on this one, sir.
They do have a report, Mr. Kidd, but all the boxes don't check, so there is no objection from forestry.
Yeah, that's.
Okay,
that's
my
I may,
apology.
if I-
I'll second Ms. Sankar's motion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kidd. So, all those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application has been approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, through a couple emails, I have confirmed that Vasilios is present for item number 26.
Okay, we'll
So
go
if we-
back. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Wills. We'll go back to item number 26, 308 LINSMORE Crescent. I have one person registered to speak, Vasilios Leventis. Are you there, sir?
Yes, but I give the permission to the owner to speak instead of me.
Sir, can I get your full name and address, please?
Mr. Chair and members, if Vasily wants, I'm the homeowner, he wants me to speak on behalf of me for behalf of him because of his, his language barrier. He prefers me to speak. My name is Paul Verhidis of 308 LINSMORE Crescent.
Okay, you'll be you're authorized to
owner.
speak. You're the
Yes,
owner. Okay,
it's
thank
the
you.
owner.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have 5 variances before us. I think the committee's pretty clear on what you're asking for. I note that there are no staff comments or recommended conditions associated with this application. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or would like a presentation. There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Mr. Chair, through you, I do believe it meets the 4 tests and it's minor in nature upon my review. I'll put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We'll go
Mr.
back-
Chair, item number 27 is ready now.
Thank you. We'll go back to item number 27, 49 Heath Street West. I have the agent, Matthew Lacatos Hayward. Are you there, sir?
I'm here, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me?
A little bit. You may want to try and speak up.
Okay, 1 second. Is that better, Mr. Chair?
That's much better. Thank you.
Okay, my apologies. Mr.
So,
Chair,
sir-
I'm oh,
So, sir, if you
Sorry?
could give us your full name and address, and I
sure.
also, yeah, if I could get your full name and address, please.
Sure. My full name is Matthew Lacatos Hayward. My address is I live downtown. I'm counsel for the owner of the property, Kinder College Early Learning Center, and agent for the applicant today.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you could give us I have 6 people registered to speak on this item, so if you could give us a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Sure thing. Members of the committee, my client is looking to convert the existing 3-story building to a daycare that will accommodate 88 children, 15 teachers, and 5 support staff. No additions or additional GFA is required. And in addition, some modifications are being made to the existing loop. There is a parking pickup loop to accommodate 6 vehicles for pickup and drop off. And that can be seen at the appendix to our client's transportation report, which is currently up on the screen. Now, our client is asking this committee to approve 1 minor variance from the citywide zoning bylaw to allow for no parking spaces on site. And I recognize that this proposal may generate some preliminary concerns, but as set out in more detail in our client's transportation report, this minor variance is desirable and appropriate for the site's development and will have minor impacts on the community. And so let me start by providing some context about the site. And I would note this can be found at Table 2 in our client's transportation report. So Heath Street West is a 2-lane street with parking available on the south side. The street is well served by transit, has multiple cycling paths, and has both on-street and public parking nearby. Based on these existing conditions, BA Group found that 75% of all work-based trips in the vicinity of the site did not involve a car, and it is expected that most employees will not require cars either. And given as well that daycare operations generally only require pickup and drop-off, the long-term parking needs of this site will be low, demonstrating that the site can accommodate the reduced parking. Second, turning now to the short-term parking issue, and this can be found at Table 5 of our client's transportation report. BA Group looked at the experiences of other comparable daycares in the area, including the Mothercraft facility down the street. And based on the number of trips and cars that were present in those areas, the site can expect to handle less than 4 to 6 cars 95% of the time during peak hours. So what this means is in that pickup drop-off loop, there will only ever be, most of the time, 4 to 6 cars. And accordingly, the site can accommodate parking demands and needs. In the other 5% of cases, which are generally momentary and dissipate quickly, our client is adopting protocols to further reduce the time that cars are stopped, including adopting a valet system, which is set out in Appendix C of the transportation report, and which has been adopted with a lot of success at our client's Richmond Street facility. Now, just turning quickly to address some potential concerns about congestion or impacts on traffic. These are all set out at Table 9. BA Group found the opposite. Based on a survey of existing traffic conditions, a review of historic studies, and comparable daycares in the area, and projections based on future development, BA Group calculated that existing two-way traffic volumes are about 280 to 415 vehicles during weekday peak hours, and that the daycare would only attract, say, 20 extra vehicles. When taken into account signalized and unsignalized streets, it's expected that this trip will have a low impact to local vehicular traffic. And finally, our client's proposed variance is consistent with other daycare proposals and other parking variances that have been approved in the area. At least 2 daycare centers in Toronto have been approved without parking, and these are noted in the BA Group report. Furthermore, 20 properties within 1 kilometer of the site have received minor variance approvals from this committee, including the Bishop Strawn School on Lonsdale Road, for minor variances to significantly reduce the parking needs on site. And finally, I know City has not prepared a staff report, but our client held a community meeting on November 9th, and at that meeting, Transportation Services staff expressed support as long as it was done in accordance with the transport report. And furthermore, Councillor Matlow, I understand, was present and did not express any opposition. And so it's for those reasons our client submits that the minor variance satisfies the 4 tests under the Planning Act and should be granted in order to provide much needed daycare spots to this community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair and members, we did receive a late staff report. It's up on the screen now for your observation.
Okay, thank you.
It is also on the AIC, the Application Information Center, available for download.
It indicates, I'll just add the recommendation from Transportation Services in their report of November 6 is that given the context and scale of the proposed conversion, Transportation Services has no objections to the proposed variances and development. I'll move to the, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? I'll move to the next person on the list. I have a Stephen Cameron Smith. Are you there, sir? Mr. Cameron Smith, are you there, sir?
Mr. Chair and member, Stephen is present on the call and they are unmuted. So if they'd like to take this opportunity to voice their concerns, please do so now.
Mr. Cameron Smith, are you there? We'll come back to him. I have Mitsu Ito. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Can I get your full name and address, please?
So, sure, I'm speaking on behalf of my father, Mitsu Ito. My name is Art Ito, A-R-T, last name I-T-O.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your views on this application, please.
Well, I understand that the traffic study has been done. We live at 51 Heath Street West, which is right next door to the location. And, you know, daily we see that the rush hours are becoming earlier and earlier. Now we'll see about 3 o'clock to 3:30, the traffic will become congested going westbound, to the extent that there will be cars waiting to pass through Avenue Road in front of our own house. So, which is, you know, quite a long distance between Avenue Road to 51 Heath. I see that with the additional traffic that we will get with respect to this daycare center, that it may increase further congestion as the turn that is recommended to go into the U is a very tight turn. And we have a number of issues with parking on our street, because not only do we have a number of daycare centers, we also have a number of yoga centers that have opened up, which increase the daytime parking and has resulted in many of us on this street having to have cars towed away. So, you know, I'm not sure whether that has been taken into consideration with that. So if you look at this diagram, because the turn is tighter, the cars are going to have to go a little further to the north. They'll have to go a bit into the other lane and then come quickly into that lane. And it's hard to control in terms of, you know, people just parking in front of an area that they shouldn't be. And I think we probably would have called parking enforcement about 7 times this year already with 1 tow away.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So, well, and also with respect to the intersection at Yonge and Heath, you do have an area of, again, congestion because of the jog between Heath when it crosses Yonge. So a lot of times the traffic can be delayed going eastbound because of the jog that's occurring there and people trying to make the left turn onto Yonge Street.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Sir, did you have the opportunity to read the transportation report?
Yes, I did go through it, and that's where I had questions on.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not sure.
I'll just ask if the committee has any further questions. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, thank you very much. Go back to Stephen Cameron Smith. Are you there?
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. Would you please, meanwhile, put the staff report on the screen?
The Transportation Services report?
No, staff report.
They're the only.
She's requesting the planning staff report, and we can put that on the screen for her. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one from Transportation Services. I'll go to the next person on the. I'll go back to Mr. Cameron Smith. Sir, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Can I get your full name and address, please, sir?
Yes, it says Stephen Cameron Smith, 45 Oriole Gardens, Toronto.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed.
I have read the traffic study done by BA Consultants. I'm in the development business. I've looked at this proposed drop-off and it doesn't work. I have driven the existing driveway and it doesn't work. The problem that we've got on this street is we do have intense congestion. I don't know, the transportation person provides all these numbers. He doesn't live in the area. We already have a traffic problem with Mothercraft because people park on the street because the drive around is full. We've also got trucks delivering, and we have garbage pickup on Thursdays. The street is an absolute mess. The practicality of this drop-off with valet doesn't work. You'd need to be a surgeon to try to park 6 cars in what's proposed. It just doesn't work. And so what will happen is cars will double park in people's driveways, as Mr. Ito has said. Cars will be towed away. People that live on the street are basically frantic. We've got 7 daycares in the area right now. I do not believe we need another one. Yes, we need daycare, but I do not believe that this is the right place to put it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions of the speaker? Okay, we'll move on to the next person on our list. I have a Duncan McAllister. Are you there, sir?
Mr. Chair and members, Duncan is not present on the call.
Thank you, Mr. Wills. Next person on the list is a Lynn Lassman. Are you there, madam? Lynn Lassman, are you there?
Mr. Chair and members, Lynn is not present on the call.
Thank you. Next person on the list is an Irv Kleiner. Are you there?
I am.
Is Ms. Kleiner? Mr. Kleiner?
Yeah. Yes. Hello.
Can I get
Can
your
you
full
hear me?
name and address, please?
Yeah, Irv Kleiner. We're at 39 Heath Street.
Sir, can you speak up? We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Can you speak up?
Can you hear me now?
Very, very faint.
Okay. I'm speaking right into the microphone.
That's better.
Okay.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
Irv Kleiner, 39 Heath Street.
Okay,
Heath
thank you.
Street West.
Okay, please proceed, sir.
So, so I want to reiterate something that one of the other callers mentioned. Heath
Sir, you're
Street has
fading
become a
out.
thoroughfare.
Sir, we can't hear you.
1 second. Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Okay, so Heath Street has become a thoroughfare. Like the congestion on Heath Street is beyond belief. In order to properly egress and ingress to my property, a property that I reside in, you know, there are times when the wait time just to ingress and egress from the property is completely unreasonable. The existing parking on the street is an issue. The public parking will be of absolutely no use. The public parking is utilized by offices in the area, primarily those that are on St. Clair Avenue and on Yonge Street. So the public parking will be of zero assistance. It is something that hasn't been said. This is a very narrow street. Okay, when you add people who are parking on the street, people who are cycling on the street, the challenge in just driving normally down your side of the lane is unbelievable. We've had vehicles that have been parked on the street that have been damaged because, you know, people are trying to navigate down the street but have no other alternative but to come very close to the vehicles that are already parked on the street and have taken out their mirrors. I, for one, have had a mirror taken off one of my vehicles, and you know, these days replacing a mirror on a vehicle is not an inexpensive proposition. So the street is already very, very congested. I heard 88 kids, 15 teachers, 5 support staff. That's 118. That's 118 new bodies that are going to be have an impact on that property. There's no way, okay, that 6 parking spots, and I don't care, how much concierge service or whatever services you're providing. There's no way that that dwelling can support the kind of daycare that is being planned for that location. The other thing to keep in mind is, daycares, in my experience, are a destination location. So the people who are going to be coming to that daycare are all going to be driving to it. I thought I heard a number, some ridiculous number of 75% of those, coming to that location will not need a car. I mean, that's just, that's just completely exaggerated. I think I saw that the study that was done, I believe, was done in 2015. I'm uncertain about that, but I will just simply say this: that particular location is not designed, and the street is one that cannot accommodate the kind of enterprise that is being planned for that location.
Thank you, sir.
That concludes.
Any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll move on to the next.
Oh,
speaker.
I might also add, I mean, the one thing about that transportation.
Sir, I can't
study,
hear you.
Sir,
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Barely.
That transportation study was done by the applicant's representative. That was not an independent study.
Well, it was done by an independent consultant, sir. That's what BA Group is. Any further questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll move on to our next speaker, Dr. Nicoletta Bonifed. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Nicoletta Bonifetti, and my address is 41 Heath Street West.
Thank you, madam. If you could give us your views on this application.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity. I agree with all the points that have been made so far by the other residents. I would like to state I have submitted a detailed opinion piece that has been written, and I've also submitted, helped to organize and submitted a petition from the local area, and the Deer Park Residents Group has also submitted a document that does not support this, the applicant's application. A couple of things that I would like to highlight, please. The applicant is currently owns this building and will be transforming it into a daycare, as he has stated. And I should note that he starts off by saying that daycare, in the transportation studies, they say that daycares are, by their very nature, local things, that they actually service local people. And then they go on to say that 3/4 of the people will be arriving not by car. But by the same token, the applicant has not actually researched his specific situation. He has not actually put out any questionnaire to the local residents to determine who will actually be using his daycare. In fact, he's going by surrogate data of other daycares, but every daycare is particular to their own areas. Daycares are definitely necessary in the city of Toronto. Ideally, they would service the area in which they are located so that mothers and fathers can walk their children to the daycares. But yet he has no data. He has not asked any of the people in the area to see if any of them would make use of their services and how they would be arriving. Neither has he done so with the other daycare that he currently owns and operates on Richmond Street. So he cannot come to that conclusion. When one looks at the 2016 census and one lives in the neighborhood, one comes to the accurate and correct conclusion that there are not enough children in this neighborhood who do not have daycare to fill up 88 spots in the daycare that is proposed a few doors down from me. Therefore, most of the children who will be coming here will not be coming by foot, but will be coming either by TTC or by car, and most likely by car. They, therefore, in my opinion, will need parking. Parking there will be essential to service the workers, the parents, and the children to make it an ideal and safe environment. childcare is essential, but it ought to be planned. It ought to be provided for with complete, thorough process of thought, not just something where you buy a large building with a circular driveway and convert it into something, not even knowing who your neighbors are or the status of the traffic on that road. And the applicant confessed to not having done this legwork, confessed to not having realized that the traffic is the way it is when we had that meeting. He then went on to get a traffic study, and on page, and I have commented in great deal about the traffic study, but I'd like to make one highlighted area, please. On page 11, BA Group does state this: the application of an auto mode share 23 to 25% to the anticipated staff load of 15 staff would result in the need for 3 to 4 staff parking spaces. They themselves conclude that for their staff alone, not even considering parents or children, they should have 3 to 4 staff, and the bylaw requires, they should have 3 to 4 parking spots, and the bylaw requires 6, but they're not providing 6, they're not providing 4 or 3. They propose 0. And they say it will be okay because they do it on the Richmond Street location. But if you look at the reviews of the Richmond Street location, there are several reviews where the parent, mother or father, states that traffic is outrageous. Traffic is a nightmare. These are reviews that I'm happy to forward to the committee in a separate email. Okay, and last thing is that the applicant himself has a manual for his daycare on Richmond Street. And this is what I'm quoting. Safe arrival policy. Bringing the child into the center is the parent's responsibility. Kinder College is not responsible for the child until he or she is signed into the center. Because of our security system, we encourage.
Thank you very much. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to, there are no other speakers. I'll go back to the agent, Mr. Lakatos Hayward. Are you there, sir?
I'm here, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You've heard the comments from the previous speakers. If you'd like to comment on them, please proceed.
Sure. I have 4 or 5 points just to address some of these concerns, and some of them have already been addressed. With regard to some of the comments, I would note that the pickup drop-off loop is not a series of parking spaces. Instead, it is a loop for cars to come in, drop off their children, and then drive out in accordance with the valet system. That is not, they are not parking spaces, and so will not create some of the parking problems that were raised by some of the people on the call. With regard to not enough street parking, and I believe as well the comment made by the previous speaker, I would note that our client's current facility at Richmond Street is that staff generally do not come to work by car, given the excellent access to public transit and other forms of transportation. Here in this case, this facility is 400 meters from the St. Clair subway station, 400 meters from the 512 streetcar route, and various other buses and public transit. In addition, I just want to correct something at page 11 of the BA report. She noted that staff would need 3 to 4 parking spaces. However, the next lines read, the TTS data set does not contain information on the specific types of employment and the differences in transit modes between different employment types. It is anticipated that the majority, if not all, of the daycare employees will travel by non-auto means due to the excellent location of site. All this to say, I think we need to consider some of these comments in the context of where this site is located. This is a 2-lane street with parking spaces both publicly available and on the street. In addition, this lane is being subject to a road widening coming up in the future to add in additional lanes to this site. And so once that context is taken into account, plus the nature that there's a bunch of, that this is essentially just short-term pickup drop-off, it's clear that our client's minor variance can accommodate the parking and traffic needs of the site. This is a location that is badly in need of daycare spots, and this minor variance will help facilitate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Adirati?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I was carefully listening to the applicant and also all the neighbors. And I also read the report of consultation as well as the Councillor Josh Matlow's objection letter. Although I personally I'm in support of having a daycare, but I also believe that this particular site is not an appropriate site for daycare because of all the concerns that have been addressed to neighbors. Therefore, I would like to put forward a motion to refuse this application.
Thank you, Ms. Adirati. Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Kidd dissenting. Sir, your application has been refused. Thank you very much. Item number 29, 24 Fairside Avenue. I have two people registered to speak. The agent is Parisa Amiri Kankari. Are you there?
Hello?
Ms. Kankari, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Hi, this is Parisa Amiri. I'm the architect on the file, and my address is 71 Barker Avenue.
Okay, thank you, madam. You have 3 variances before us. We have 1 person registered to speak on this application. If you could give us a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yes, sure. This proposal is, this application is proposing the site addition plus the full second floor addition. And we are not requesting any side setback or lot coverage, which is very normal in this neighborhood. We are requesting for FSI and height, and I'm going through every one of those. Unfortunately, for the total height, which has been indicated 8.62 meter on the zoning review, I was talking to the zoning examiner at the time he was doing the zoning review, and I insisting the total height is 832, not 862, because the portion that it's going higher than the roof, flat roof, it's kind of a chimney architectural feature, but well, he didn't accept, and we are there. And item number 2, which we are proposing, is FSI, and FSI is 45% over there in that neighborhood, and the existing FSI for 1-story building is 80. The lot cover, the area, floor area is 81.7, and for 45% is 131.61 square meter, which is we wanted to just put another story, which is very normal in that street, on top of the existing bungalow. It would be double the existing one. It would be like 60 FSI, 0.6. And I have a point on the item number 2 on the public hearing notice, which is not right. The FSI that we are requesting is 0.66 based on the document that we have submitted to the Committee of Adjustment on May 28, but it has been indicated 0.6. And again, the item number 3 is related to the total height, which in the East York area, the total height is 8.5 meter, and the zoning examiner counted to the top of the architectural feature, which is 8.62 meter. Without that, the total height is 8.32 meter. And I do believe this is a very normal development on the street, on that neighborhood. I'm talking about myself as well because I'm a resident in the neighborhood as well. I'm living on Barker Street, which is the perpendicular to FAIRSIDE, and there are many flat roof development, this kind of new on-demand proposal in the neighborhood. And this is very similar to 21 Crestland, which is the one street parallel to FAIRSIDE to the east, and like very similar to
Madam, can you
64
summarize,
FAIRSIDE.
please?
Yes, to summarize that, I do believe this proposal, side addition and full second floor addition to integrate with the integral garage is very common in the neighborhood, and
Okay,
it's
thank
fit
you,
to
madam.
the.
Thank you. We have one person registered to speak, and Jew. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly.
Mr. Chair and members, they are not present on the call.
Not present? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wells. We have no other persons registered to speak. I note that there are no staff comments or recommended conditions. We've heard from the applicant. Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I just have one question, if I could, for the applicant. With regard to item number 2, were you proposing to revise that the FSI to 0.66?
I'm not proposing to revise that. Actually, the zoning review that we provided to the city, and you can probably have the access to the zoning review that is on the file, and it's in the city support document, is saying it's 0.66, but unfortunately, it has been typed incorrectly, and it's wrong on the public hearing notice. We are not changing anything.
Madam, you're asking for a floor space index of 0.6 times the lot area. Is that the variance you want to go with? You can go smaller, but you can't go higher.
Actually, that's a mistake. The city staff did it, the committee staff did it on the public hearing notice. I highly suggest please check the if you can bring it up the zoning review, which is in the
Okay, if you could wait a moment, ma'am, and thank you, Mr. Kidd, for bringing that up. The Secretary Treasurer is looking into it right now.
Mr. Chair, there's a typo on the hearing notice, so we can adjust it to 0.66.
We can adjust it to 0.66? Okay, so we've got the okay from the Secretary Treasurer, so variance number 2 will be revised to read the proposed floor space index is 0.66 times the lot area.
Yes, that's the correct number.
Okay.
Based on the zoning review.
Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Can we get a motion now on the revised application, Mr. Kidd?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe the proposed variances as amended meet the general intent of the zoning bylaw. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application with the following revision. Item number 2 to read the proposed floor space index is 0.66 times the lot area.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Kidd.
you.
Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously, sir. Madam, your revised application has been unanimously approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 30, 78 Hogarth Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is John Boone, the agent. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am.
Yes, thanks, sir. I just wanted to ask before we start, have you seen the city planning report of the 20th of November? They indicate that they have no objection, provided that variance number 2 related to the rear yard landscaping shall be increased from 36.82% to 42.77%. Have you seen that recommendation, sir?
I've spoken with Kazia Kamek. Yes, I'm aware of it. I didn't see it on the AIC as of yesterday, but I am aware of it. And it has to do with some soft landscape beside a shed at the rear yard. So it's not problematic. 40, I believe, I'm not looking at it, the soft landscape increased from around 35 to 42.
Now,
So I have,
so
yeah.
can I ask, sir, are you proposing to revise variance number 2 so that it reads 42.77% instead of 36.82%?
That's correct.
Okay, you are. Okay, thank you. We have no other persons registered to speak on this application. Again, the applicant's revising variance number 2 as per planning's recommendation. And there is a condition from urban forestry. So does the committee have any questions or comments of the speaker? If there being none, if I could get a motion, please. Ms. Zadarati?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with just one modification to variance number 2, to be read that the proposed rear yard landscaping area is now 42.77% as per staff recommendation, and also subjected to urban forestry.
Thank you very much, Ms. Zadarati. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Thank you very much, sir. Your application's been your revised application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Item number 31, 104 Ellerbeck Street. I have one person registered to speak. That is a Christopher Zianis. Are you there, sir?
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, it's, hi, sir. It's pretty clear what you're asking for in the application. I think the committee's, the variances are pretty straightforward. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments. I note the only staff comments we have on this application are from urban forestry. So if are there any questions or comments of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the proposed variances are minor in nature, and I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application subject to forestry condition.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Zadarati seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Item number 32, 182A Moore Avenue. I have one person registered to speak, James Waterfall. Are you there?
Present, and I am the
Mr.
agent.
Waterfall, are you there? Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my full name is James Waterfall. The address is 343-67 Mowat Avenue, and that's in Toronto.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I just wanted to ask, there is a, forestry has submitted a memo on this. They're requesting a deferral of the application to review potential impacts on a bylaw protected red oak tree. Have you had the opportunity to see that report from urban forestry?
Yes, I did review it, and I wondered if we could proceed, but keep that as a condition that is met.
It obviously would be a condition of urban forestry if it was approved, but you understand the risk if you go forward taking out a bylaw protected tree against their recommendations.
We do understand that, and I believe that the client would, ensure that it does not get removed without appropriate approvals. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just had a question I wanted to ask of myself on this application. I'm just curious. Your client is basically digging up the entire rear yard, putting in a below-grade garage and a turntable.
Yep.
To turn, so he can park vehicles underground. Are you not sure that it may be more financially suitable to simply buy another house with a 3-car parking garage?
Yeah, well, you're quite right. They have actually explored a few options. They like the neighborhood, they have young children, and they like to stay where they are. And they did explore putting a larger garage on the property, but they don't want to lose all of the landscaping, and they look out to actually quite a nice view. So they elected to stay put. They did a bit of a financial analysis, and I think that combined with staying in the location they're comfortable in has set the stage for for this application.
Okay, it's their choice. I'll just ask the committee, does it have any questions of the speaker?
I appreciate a presentation.
Yes, sir, if you could give us a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Absolutely. So essentially the client, the homeowner would like to invest in the property to expand the basement level. And rather than building another garage or a larger garage, because there is a detached single car garage on the property, they've elected to replace that with a carport and lower the, a single car down to basement level. The intent at grade is to restore landscaping, at considerable expense, because the structure has to bear all the soil and the plantings that would be restored. And I'd say, yeah, really that's what we're proposing. Client likes the area and does not wish to move, so would like to make his current house work. They do have support of both neighbors. Yeah.
Yes, I noted that. Thank you very much, sir. Any further questions of the
You're
speaker?
welcome.
Could I get a motion on this application, please? Please note that there are no other speakers registered on this application. Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I do believe that this does meet the 4 tests in my view, so I'll motion to approve the application and make it subject to forestry.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Adderati seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application has been approved subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Item number 33, 29 Queen Victoria Street. I have one person
I'm
registered
here,
to speak.
Christopher Smith.
That is Christopher Smith. Are you there, sir?
I am here.
Yes, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask if you've had the opportunity to read the city planning report of the 23rd of November. They're recommending that variances number 4 and 5 related to the front and rear exterior main wall height shall be limited to the 3rd-story addition, provided that the addition is constructed substantially in accordance with the dimensions shown on drawings 1, 14, 15, 16, and 17, and the plans received by the committee. And variance number 2 relating to the rear soft landscaping shall be increased from 0% of the rear yard to 17% of the rear yard area, and that the rear yard parking pad shall be installed using permeable materials, also that the area beneath the proposed deck and stairs shall remain permeable. Have you had the opportunity to review those recommended conditions?
I have, and we are happy to comply with them.
You have reviewed that report?
Yes, I have reviewed them, and I'm happy to comply with them.
So are you proposing to modify variance number 2 with respect to the rear yard landscaping?
Yes, and that has actually already been done, and I sent the site plan to Kezia. It just wasn't done in time for it to be submitted to the committee members themselves, but it has been forwarded to the zoning and planning examiner and Kezia.
Thank you, sir, because so variance number 2 has been changed so that the proposed, right now it currently reads the proposed rear yard landscaping area is 0%, and you're proposing to change it to from 0% to 17%. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, now, are there any other changes to the remaining variances?
None that I am aware of, no.
Okay, thank you. I just asking if you're proposing to change any of them. That's fine. Thank you. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or would like a presentation. I note that there is no one else registered to speak on this application. Pardon me? Can I get a motion, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the proposal is minor in nature and as amended, and I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application as revised. Item number 2 to read, the proposed rear yard landscaping area is 17%. And subject to the following conditions set out in the staff report dated November 22nd. Variance number 4 and 5, respectively, related to the front and rear exterior main wall height shall be limited to the 3rd story addition, provided that the addition be constructed substantially in accordance with the dimensions shown in drawings A01, the site plan, A014, the proposed elevation front, A015, the proposed elevation rear, A016, the proposed elevation west, and A017, the proposed elevation east, in the plans received by the committee August 12th. And also, with regard to variance 2, there's a condition that the rear yard parking pad shall be installed using permeable materials and that the area beneath the proposed deck and stairs shall remain permeable.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Senkar seconds. All those in,
Subjected to forestry, sorry.
yes, you're correct, Ms. Adirati. Urban forestry condition. Ms. Senkar seconds.
Thank
All
you.
those in favor? That motion carries unanimously, sir. Your revised application has been approved subject to city planning and urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much and have a good weekend.
You too, thank you. Item number 34, 30 Avondale Road. I have 3 people registered to speak. I have the agent, Sean McGaffey. Are you there, sir?
Yes, good afternoon. This is Sean McGaffey speaking. I live at 70 Erskine Avenue, Suite 607 in Toronto.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask if you had the opportunity to read, there's a report from Heritage Planning dated the 20th of November. They had no objections to your application, provided that prior to issuance of a building permit, you have to submit your drawings to the senior manager of Heritage Planning, Urban Design, City Planning, and Heritage Permit, I guess, for their approval. So have you had the opportunity to read that report?
Yes, I have. We've worked with Heritage Planning staff through the process and happy to accept that condition.
Okay, thank you, sir. I also note that there was a report from Toronto Region and Conservation Authority dated the 18th of November, and they have no objection to your application. I'm just going to ask, sir, we have 2 other persons registered to speak on this application. If you could give us a brief presentation on what you see are the merits of your proposal.
Sure, happy to do that. I'll just say that the other 2 participants who are registered to speak are Mr. David Winterton from ERA Architects, who is our client's heritage consultant, and Mr. Edward Joseph, who is from Hurry Pontarini Architects. He's the architect on the project. We just had them registered so that they'd be able to address any specific heritage or architectural related concerns of the committee. So like I said, we have advanced this application.
Mr. Chair, do we need a presentation since they're all?
Yeah, sir, you have to give us a presentation.
No, Mr. Chairman, given that they're all together, do we need a presentation?
But I'm sorry, Mr.
There's no opposition. They're all together. All three of them are together.
I have two people. Oh, they're all together?
Yes.
Oh. Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary Treasurer. We have no, I'm corrected. There's the two other persons are related to the agent, so thank you very much. So we have no other persons registered to speak on this application. No one registered in opposition. We have the reports. If I could get them, if there are any questions of the speaker. Could I get a motion on the application, Ms. Adarati?
Sure. I have a quick question regarding the first variance.
Okay, Ms. Adarati, please proceed.
I have a question regarding variance number 1, building length of 26.24 meter. I appreciate an explanation.
Did you hear that
Yes.
question, sir?
I did. I hear it's regarding variance number 1, which is the proposed building length of 26.24 meters. So if you are, we submitted a package of figures that explain the variances, and it is in our mind is a minor increase above the existing building length of 25.17 meters. And what you'll see is that the building in the rear area is staggered as well. So it allows for an expanded rear yard area in the northern portion of the site, and the portion that the variance applies to, the actual length of 26.24 meters, is applicable to only the southern portion of the dwelling itself.
Okay, thank you, sir. Did you get your question answered, Ms. Adarati?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I accept this application as is in terms of its the explanations that were provided by the applicant here today, and I'll put forward a motion to approve this application and make it subject to the conditions that are stated in the November 20th staff report around the issuance of the building permit, etc., and the section pertaining to the Ontario Heritage Act, and I'll also make it subject to forestry.
Thank you very much. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Thank you, Ms. Adarati. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and heritage planning conditions.
Thank you. Have a great weekend and stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Item
Take care.
number 35, 14 BINSCARTH Road. I have one person registered to speak. That's the agent, Mikio Nakashima. Are you there?
Here, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Could I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, it's Mikio Nakashima at 6 Bishop Street.
Thank you, sir. You have 3 variances before us, and I think the committee is pretty clear on what you're asking for. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments or would like a presentation. No? Again, we have no staff comments or recommended conditions. Could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Adarati?
Mr. Chair, I would like to first put forward a motion to approve this application with no conditions.
Thank you very much. Someone to second that, Ms. Sankar. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Thank you. Item number 36, 102 Maplewood Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That's Michael Cook. Are you there, sir?
I am.
Yes, Michael Cook. We have one variance before us for front yard setback. Pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or comments. I note that there are no staff comments or recommended conditions on this application. Does the committee have any questions or comments of the speaker? Could I get a motion, please? Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think it does meet the 4 tests. I'll motion to approve this application as is.
Thank you very much. Someone to second that? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you very much,
That
everyone.
ends
Have a great
today's
weekend.
meeting. If I could get a motion to terminate? Zadarati. We're closed.
At
Thanks
3:20.
very much, folks. I mean, I'm sorry about this morning's meeting. I mean, it was tough. Thanks very much for putting up with that, for putting up with me. Thank you. And thanks very much to the staff. They really soldiered on through this. Thanks very much, you folks. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.